All right, welcome back to the channel. Gervonta Tank Davis says that he can stop Vasily Lomachenko in 10 rounds. Let's talk about that and the fight between Gervonta Davis and Lomachenko, if it can happen, in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your support on the channel, for the subscribers, because you guys definitely ride hard on every video. Thank you guys very much. Also, thank you to everybody that supports the channel in the live streams that we do Monday through Friday. We do that at 11:40 Central. Thank you to everybody that comes by OG Boxing Talk, which we do Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. Central. And everybody that joined the Patreon or members of the channel, you guys really make the channel go around. Thank you guys so much for your support. Let's get to this boxing news, these boxing conversations taking place. And a real interesting one came across today out of Fight Hype. Shout out to Fight Hype for the work that they do. They got an interview with Gervonta Davis, and Gervonta Davis was asked questions about what he was doing during this corona, during this boxing timeout. And the conversation with about a fight with Vasily Lomachenko came up, and he gave his thoughts on what would happen in the fight with Vasily Lomachenko. So just a little, before we get into that, a little background, because, every once in a while, or not too, actually, and, more often than a lot of people would think, we get people that come onto the channel that are new to boxing and don't necessarily know who all of these people are or what the scenario is. So let me just spend a couple, not very much time, but a little bit of time giving you background on it. Vasily Lomachenko is a 130-pound champion. He is the WBA champion. He is the WBO champion, and he is the WBC franchise champion. Franchise champion, you can kind of throw that out there, but technically speaking, it is a belt. It is a championship, and Gervonta Davis is a multiple time champion at 130 pounds and 135 pounds. He won the IBF championship at 135 pounds. He lost that belt on the scale in a fight against Francisco Fonseca on the undercard of Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Conor McGregor fight. He then won another title at 135 pounds, which was 130 pounds, which is the IBF championship, or the WBA championship. And he won that fight and was the WBA super champion. He just recently moved up to 135 pounds to fight for a WBA regular title against Yuriorkis Gamboa, which he won by knockout. But it looks like his next fight is going to be back down at 130 pounds against Leo Santa Cruz, who is the 126 pound WBA champion. And he also holds the same belt that Gervonta Davis used to hold, the WBA championship at 130. So that's going to be their next fight. However, the biggest fight in the lightweight division that has been talked about, and most likely the biggest fight that can be made at lightweight, is between either 130 or 135 pounds, because Vasily Lomachenko said he would be willing to move back down to 130 pounds to fight Gervonta Davis. And so the biggest fight that can be made at either 130 pounds or 135 pounds is Vasily Lomachenko versus Gervonta Tank Davis. There has been talks in the boxing world about this fight happening for at least the last 2 years, and a lot of call outs going back and forth between them. Gervonta Davis is actually one of the few guys that it seems like Lomachenko feels like he really wants to fight. Now, the reason why people really want to fight Gervonta Davis is that Gervonta Davis is the money man in those divisions. He sold out stadiums in California, in New York, in Atlanta, Georgia, and in Baltimore, Maryland. And there's not a lot of people in boxing right now that have the ability to do that. Actually, and I think that's definitely a result of his fighting style and and some very good promotion on the part of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mayweather Promotions, and the CEO of that, Richard Ellerby. Did I call him Richard Ellerby? Ellerby. God, I can't believe that I just messed up Leonard Ellerby, not Richard. Leonard Ellerby, the CEO of Mayweather Promotions. You know you're getting old when you're messing up Leonard Ellerby's name. But anyway, so that's the background on it. So then they asked Gervonta Davis whether or not how does he see that fight playing out? And Gervonta Davis said that he sees himself knocking out Vasily Lomachenko in 10 rounds. Now, I'm not sure if he means in the 10th round or if he means within 10 rounds, as if it's not going the distance and it's not going to the 11th and the 12th rounds, but he sees himself knocking him out around that time, which is a little bit sooner than what he did in his last fight, knocking out Yuriorkis Gamboa at 135 pounds. Now, there's a lot of people that are on the Kool-Aid, right? They're on the ESPN Kool-Aid. They're on that Bob Arum Kool-Aid, thinking that Vasily Lomachenko is some undefeatable fighter that can't get touched, and there ain't no way in the world Gervonta Davis could get him like that. Yeah, there is. First, Vasily Lomachenko is not some undefeatable fighter. He's not even undefeated. He lost to Orlando Salido, who is not a big puncher, but is an aggressive fighter. And to tell you the truth, man, Vasily Lomachenko really hasn't fought very many guys. They've not fought anybody that I think has a rat's chance in hell of beating Gervonta Davis. Not Luke Campbell, not Jorge Linares, definitely not Jose Pedraza, because we already saw what would happen when he fought Jose Pedraza. Not what's the dude's name? $1 Million Corrala, not Guillermo Rigondeaux, not dude that was sitting out a year before he got that fight. What is his name? Everybody, like the fight that made Lomachenko this super extra star. Nicholas Walters, that's the name of the guy. It was like the Nicholas Walters fight put him over the top. Man, whatever. Vasily Lomachenko was an excellent fighter, but he does not have a resume of beating really a lot of top quality fighters. The best fighter on Vasily Lomachenko's resume, in my opinion, is Gary Russell Jr., and that fight was at 126 pounds. That's not 130 pound or 130 pound Gervonta Davis. So the reason why I think Tank, just looking at the resume of Vasily Lomachenko and look at the issues he's had at lightweight, he's definitely vulnerable to losing Gervonta Davis on a decision. As far as him knocking out Vasily Lomachenko, he says he sees himself breaking down Vasily Lomachenko and then stopping Vasily Lomachenko. That's going to be a difficult. As far as a knockout, I think that's going to be a difficult go. But I do believe that in a southpaw matchup, that a lot of the angles and things that Vasily Lomachenko likes to take, I don't think that's going to work on the southpaw. It didn't work on the southpaw with Guillermo Rigondeaux. A lot of people act as if like Vasily Lomachenko really beat the tar out of Guillermo Rigondeaux, and that really wasn't the case. It wasn't a lot that really happened in that fight before Lomachenko wound up getting some good combinations off, and he started looking like he was pressing the action and really trying to get into Guillermo Rigondeaux when Guillermo Rigondeaux pulled out of the fight. But really, there wasn't a lot of stuff that really happened in that fight, and he wasn't able to. He didn't confuse Guillermo Rigondeaux with with the angles that he was switching from. It didn't, and Guillermo Rigondeaux just changed angles with him. It was the size that overcame Guillermo Rigondeaux, because Guillermo Rigondeaux right now is fighting down at 100, and he's not even at 122 pounds anymore. He's at 118 pounds, let alone a fight at 130, right? So that's just a huge size difference. So I think that Gervonta Davis has the ability to beat him. He's got advantages in speed. He's got advantages in his youth and power. I think he has faster feet, and he has tremendous fast footwork. And also, he's been preparing for and understands exactly what it is that Vasily Lomachenko is doing. There's enough tape on Vasily Lomachenko now to know what you're going to expect from him. And it's not a situation where it's like the Matrix and it's so confusing. I don't know if it was ever the case, but Gervonta Davis has a chance to do it. But the problem with this fight is that more than likely it's not going to happen, because Top Rank is going to more than likely feed Vasily Lomachenko to Teofimo Lopez and build and then have Teofimo Lopez involved in a bunch of in-house fights. That's how I see the future of the Vasily Lomachenko going through Teofimo Lopez. And you know, I also think that from the Mayweather promotion standpoint, that Vasily Lomachenko doesn't fit the blueprint of what they're going to want to do with Gervonta Davis, which is what Mayweather did at Mayweather in welterweight, and which is fighting guys. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't start pushing his fights closer to May 5th and May 16th, right? May 5th and September 16th, right around that period of time, and start having fighting a lot of Mexican fighters to try to push that, you know, Cinco de Mayweather, except for turning into Cinco de Gervonta, May 5th and May 16th, and I see them going that route. That's like what they're doing with the Leo Santa Cruz fight. Leo Santa Cruz fight, I mean, like, on what planet, who in the world is asking for that Leo Santa Cruz fight? That definitely is that Floyd Mayweather blueprint type of stuff. And that's why I see these two being kept apart and the fight not happening. So I doubt very much we'll ever get to see whether or not what Gervonta Davis has to say is true or not, because they're just not going to make the fight. But you let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.